Nate from Maryland, who's a new atheist and wants to know, how do I cope with the religious people in my life? Nate, how are you? And kind of go through a little bit what it is specifically you want to know.
Yeah, I actually think it's kind of interesting that you were talking about, like, you go anywhere in this country and you have people talking about God at you, and that's kind of what I'm dealing with. My family members in a lot of different places, basically, whenever I try to engage with them, there's always some kind of a religious tilt to it. And it's really getting on my nerves, but I feel like I'm in a place where I can't exactly be honest with them because I feel like my honesty does not kind of match up with their fragility, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
So I guess, like, do you guys have any experiences like that, and how do you cope with that?
Do you mind, Richard, if I answer this?
No, please.
So I'm in a very similar position that you're in. People are always surprised to find out that not a lot of people in my immediate family or my life know that I'm an atheist, because all I do is talk about it on the internet. Like, that's my whole brand. But I think it depends on the time and the place. So, for example, I like to host Thanksgiving, and oftentimes I'm asked to lead the prayer for Thanksgiving. It doesn't really bother me that much. I've decided I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm just going to allow other people to lead the prayer. But if it's something that doesn't really bother me, I just let it go. If it's something that does bother me, depending on who the relative is, or if I feel like there's any progress to be made at all, I'll ask questions. I'll present commentary to the antithesis. For example, they say, "Oh, thank God that so-and-so, their sickness went away, or so-and-so's out of the hospital." I'll say, or, we could also thank the doctor, because I don't feel like he gets thanked nearly enough. I never say the word atheism. I never say the word, anti-God or anything like that. It's just, or, we could thank the doctor. "Oh, thank God you made it through that job interview. God bless." It's like, or, we can thank me because I got the degree and I interviewed and I reached out to them on LinkedIn and I submitted my resume. I do that. And because a lot of times, one, it makes people laugh when they'll say, "I'm grateful to God that I got this house." And I'll say, "I'm thankful to you that you went on to Zillow and you typed in your budget and you found the house and you did the tour." And it just kind of passes through that way, where there's not really any kind of conversation on God isn't real, atheism is better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The Bible's lying. It's more of you train people to recognize that you're just not going to sit still when that kind of conversation comes up. And yet a fight has not happened. An argument has not happened. You've just done a good job of letting people know, if they mention those things around you, you're either going to laugh about it or you're just going to shut it down. If that makes sense. Is that helpful at all?
Yeah, I think so. And I appreciate that, like, you kind of handle these situations with delicacy, because I think that's that's exactly what's needed. It's I think that's really helpful advice. I'm going to try something like that.
It goes back to that whole, people learn how to treat you based on how you allow them to, whether it's about this, whether it's about something else. And so once you've kind of established that you're just not going to allow that kind of talk around you, but in a way that's non-confrontational, it doesn't give anybody the opportunity to lead into an argument or a fight. It's amazing how quickly those things dispel, because not everybody's in a position where they want to cut off family, where they want to go no contact. That's not always what you want to do, but you also don't want to sit there and have to listen to stuff like that makes you crazy after a while, because it just doesn't make any sense to you, or you just haven't believed in it forever, especially if it's in your own car or under your own roof. And so oftentimes you just slowly teach people that you're just not going to listen to that kind of conversation.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. I think that's some really good advice.
Thanks.
Nate, what's your kind of friend circle like in regards to this? Are they all religious as well, or theists as well, or do you have kind of atheist friends you can talk to about this outside of your immediate family?
Well, I grew up Jewish, so a lot of my friends around me, they kind of see, like, the cultural Judaism as kind of their connection with the religion, and myself included. But I also do have family that's like, Catholic, and we spend a lot of time together. So it's nice to kind of be able to have time with friends and family where, like, God isn't thanked for every single thing, and like it goes on and on and on about it.
Right.
And as far as, like, my other friends too, like, religion doesn't really come up, so it's not
Right.
that much of a problem.
Right. I think it's one of those things where when you open the floor for, oh, thank God for this, or thank somebody else for this, it not only highlights that you don't think that God deserves thanks for everything, but it also highlights to that person how often they mindlessly say things like that. The number of times that I'll present somebody else we could thank, or something else that could get credit, or some other reason something worked out. People laugh and then they go, "Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess you're right." And once you've done that more than one time, I honestly think it helps people understand how often they don't give themselves credit for how much they do. So not only are you saying, I'm an atheist and I don't want to hear that shit, but you're also saying, why do you keep giving away the credit that you deserve for your hard work? And people start to notice they do that not just to God, but they do that in a lot of areas of their life. And it gives them something to think about, especially when you do it over and over again, as just almost like a training course on, you need to think yourself. You need to take your own full responsibility for this. You need to be able to say that you worked really hard. It just kind of makes people think about, not only do they give God a lot of credit, but they give other people a lot of credit for things that they deserve to be a little braggadocious about sometimes.
Yeah, it very much relates to a lot of the people in my life, that very situation. I think part of the frustration for me is I care so much about them. I don't want
Right.
them, like, throwing away that recognition that they deserve.
Exactly.
And I think that they can tend to be really ungrateful when the only thing that they give thanks to isn't something that answers back, at least from my perspective.
And that's a great way to word it to them too. If they ever bring it up, like, why do you always say that? Well, I've just noticed, man, I care a lot about you, and I've just noticed you never ever take credit. And you could even wager it, like, don't you think God would want you to be proud of yourself too? Like, isn't that something that he would want for you? I don't know. In their minds, you could even frame it that way, the exact way that you just said it. And it sounds like very sincere. You care about them and you just want them to stop handing off what you know for a fact they worked so hard for, or they put a lot of effort into, or they deserve a little credit for.
Yeah. I'm really glad that I called today. This was very helpful to me personally.
I'm glad you called too. Yeah, I'm so glad you called, because it's such a realistic scenario. The knee-jerk reaction is cut him off, stop talking to him, tell him God's not real. But in reality, what you're describing, I feel like, is 90% of the scenarios that we find ourselves in.
I will say it did take me like a few months of listening and like maybe also kind of stewing in that, like, I should never talk to them again. And
Yes.
so like it's taken some time to kind of get to where I'm at, where I've kind of said to myself, I still want a relationship with these people,
Right.
but I want it to be in more of an equitable kind of way.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And it sounds like you're dealing with it really, really well, mate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
It sounds like you're dealing with it really, really well. It sounds like you're kind of approaching it from a good perspective as well, and kind of you're open to, or rather than being kind of like overly confrontational about it, as a lot of new atheists are. It sounds like you're trying to weigh up things, even when you're having internal struggles and kind of thinking, well, how should I approach it? It seems like you're really sitting there and trying to weigh these things up, which is really important, not to have these knee-jerk reactions. So good on you. You're doing a good job.
I will say it has been a lot of listening to Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience and all of you different folks over there with such a wide range of perspectives, even through atheism. Like, the one thing I hear the most is you can't just paint atheists with a broad brush, and I think it's really helped me to slow down and to just like analyze
Yes.
And I think it's one of the reasons why I just really appreciate everything that what you folks do. It's mind blowing that I didn't find this sooner.
I think what you said is so valuable there. Just slow down, breathe, slow down, and think about, like you said, the relationships with these people, the potential, the knee-jerk reactions. And once you've had time to really think about it, you can come forward with how you want to handle it. I think that's what you said is really valuable.
Well, yeah, thanks so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and thanks so much for taking my call.
Yeah, you too, and you're welcome to call back anytime, Nate. To give us a call back. Let us know how you're going on. Let us know how things progress, and we're very, very happy to take your call again in the future just to get those updates.